All right, Novak Djokovic has done it. And by has done it, I mean shown you that, yes, he's 37 years old, but yes, he can still compete with and be the best in the world. Djokovic schools Alcaraz in a pretty crazy, interesting match in the quarterfinals of the Australian Open. As he said after the match, he regrets that it's the quarterfinals and he wishes it was the final, but it wasn't. So we're going to break down how he beat Alcaraz. There's two main ways that he kind of showed how he's definitely superior on this surface to Alcaraz right now, and I think Alcaraz has a lot to learn from that. So we're going to break down that. We're going to look at Zverev and Tommy Paul as well, and then that matchup between Djokovic and Zverev in the semifinals. This is the slice presented by Betway. Let's get into it. Okay, people. It's 6:45 in the morning and I've been up since 2 a.m., but I wouldn't want to be anywhere else because if you're a tennis fan, like I've been saying before this, these types of matches are you have to be up for. You have to watch. It is a treat that we're able to watch Novak Djokovic play Carlos Alcaraz, and it's not going to happen forever. So we need to cherish these matches, and this was a pretty good one. It wasn't like an epic. It wasn't one of maybe their highest quality matches between the two of them, but it definitely had its moments, and it had some really interesting themes throughout it. I think from the point of tactics and kind of areas for improvement and strengths and weaknesses. That got shown on this surface the first time they played at the Australian Open that we haven't seen in maybe the other matches they've played at the other tournaments. So if you're new here, welcome to the Slice. Thank you for being here. Subscribe to help us get over 20,000 subscribers, and then you will become a better tennis player. That's the trade-off. You click subscribe, and you just magically become a better tennis player. So we don't know why that is, but you might as well try it out. So appreciate your support. Also appreciate the support of Betway. The odds had Djokovic as the underdog coming into this match, and he said, "Thank you very much. I'm still the king of Australia." He's won it 10 times, and he showed us all why, and he reminded us why. In my preview, I'm glad I didn't make the video title why Alcaraz will beat Djokovic, because I was going to do that, but then I was like, not sure. And I said if I had to predict, I would lean Alcaraz in 4 or 5. But I think the main thing I forgot and didn't put enough weight onto in that thinking was the court surface and how much more comfortable. Obviously, Djokovic is. It's like he knows this court like the back of his hand, but also how not comfortable Alcaraz has been on this surface and other fast hard courts. I think it's clear now to me that a fast hard court is Alcaraz's worst surface. And it's not like he's terrible on it. He's going to beat 99% of the other players, but you're playing Novak Djokovic on Rod Laver at the Australian Open. So you have to be elite at playing on this court. And tonight kind of showed that, in my opinion, he isn't, or at least tonight he wasn't with the way that he played. So we're going to break that down right now. So the two main reasons that Djokovic. Actually, let's get before we get into the two main reasons. Sorry to tease you there. Yeah, again, Djokovic shows his greatness at 37 years old to beat Alcaraz, who's 21 years old, still coming into his prime, but really he's already won 4 majors, is kind of in his prime. His prime just started a lot earlier than maybe other players. But that's actually the first time that Djokovic has beaten Alcaraz at a major since the French Open 2023. So that was one of the things that me and a lot of other people thought. Like Djokovic in the 3-set matches probably can still hang with Alcaraz, but can he do it over a 4 or 5-set match at a major? I didn't really think so. I didn't say that, I didn't think that it wasn't possible. Obviously, with Djokovic, literally anything is possible. But that just shows his greatness. At 37 years old, he's still able to do that. Yeah. Okay. So that was one last thing I wanted to say before getting into the key points. Okay. So the keys to the match I gave before in the preview were serve and return. That was going to be huge. And that was huge tonight. And I'm going to show you why. So Djokovic, so serve and return domination from Djokovic is what I'm calling it. So Djokovic was great on both. Serving, he was smart. He was great in the big moments, and he's always been like that, or he's increasingly been like that as his career goes on. When there's a big moment, he can find a serve, and he knows where to serve. We'll talk about it, but Alcaraz wasn't returning in a ideal position on the deuce side. So where did Djokovic go? He kept going to the out wide on the deuce side to expose the kind of return position that Alcaraz was showing, and he kept doing it over and over and over, and that's smart because Alcaraz wasn't making the adjustment. And then on the return, he was great. He was, he showed why he's the greatest returner to ever play the game, especially on this court. This court is where his return is the best because the ball comes quickly through the court to him as a returner. So his reaction time is shown, and then the ball gets quickly back onto the server. So the return is almost more dangerous on this surface than anywhere else. He handled Carlos Alcaraz's serve and made him pay for not getting his spots perfectly or not getting enough first serves in. And then, that created, we'll pull up the stats here in a second, but that created a very low percentage of first serve win rate for Alcaraz. Djokovic also had a pretty slow first serve win rate, but kind of for different reasons, I think. But Alcaraz coming into this match, looking at their previous records, we thought, Alcaraz was going to be wanting to be well above 70% to first serve win percentage, and he was only at 67. Djokovic was at 63. But then there's another aspect to serving, which is not your first serve, it's your second serve. And Djokovic absolutely dominated Alcaraz in the second serve category. Alcaraz winning only 33% of his second serves, 11 out of 33 points. Djokovic winning 58% of his second serves. So there's like a double whammy there, double-edged sword. Alcaraz using his nice kick serve on the Australian Open hardcourt doesn't bounce super high. Djokovic is able to sit up there, time it, and make him pay because it's a slower serve by being a kick. Djokovic is able to make him pay, and he did. Then Djokovic's second serve, he just served great. He was hitting big second serves, a lot of slide on them, like to Alcaraz's forehand side on the deuce out wide. The slider second serve was causing him issues, and Djokovic was hitting it big, hitting his spots well, winning 58% of his second serve points, which is amazing. So, Djokovic won that exchange, won that battle, the serving and returning battle. Djokovic won it on both sides. And that's the main reason why he was able to win the match, because that's so important on this surface. Alcaraz on the first serve, like I said, 67% on win on first serve. Better than Novak Djokovic, but not good. Wasn't hitting his spots. Alcaraz was getting a lot of first serves in, like he got 74% first serves in to Djokovic's 63. But he wasn't really hitting his spots a lot of the times, and higher percentage first serves in means they're probably like less impactful first serves in general. And then again, Djokovic was making him pay when he didn't hit his spots or they weren't the best serves. And then the return for Alcaraz, it's hard to handle Djokovic's serve on the surface. It kind of maybe exposed Alcaraz's defensive returning abilities. Djokovic has a great serve. Alcaraz was able to get a lot back in play, but not deep enough or well enough to get into enough of Djokovic's service games to compete with the way that Djokovic was able to do it to him. So that showed the levels that there is to this game in returning. I think Sinner, for example, has a better return on this faster surface. Also returns from further back. Also, then just takes bigger cuts at the ball. So that's going to be super interesting if Djokovic and Sinner end up playing in the final to see if there's a difference there. Alcaraz, then again, the main thing was, and you heard Patrick and John McEnroe talking about it, was the return positioning on the deuce side. He was, in my opinion, staying too far inside the court. He should have been outside the court a little bit with his foot, or at least, like the brothers were saying, angling his body to try and contain that serve that went out to his forehand, because it seemed like he was a bit open and a bit too far inside. So the ball, he would still get the balls or to get a racket on the ball, but it was kind of beside him. It was past him. He wants to get the return out in front, but the way he was positioned allowed the ball to get beside him. So he was late, dumping a lot of them into the net, or just, not having it be deep enough. And Djokovic was able to take advantage on the next ball. So I wonder if they'll watch that back and try to make adjustments for that. But that's something that, he's not thinking through in the match. And that's a bit concerning if you're me, but he's playing the best ever to do it, especially on this court. And yeah, that's just one thing that he kind of didn't adjust to during the match, which I think hurt him. Yeah. So yeah, the serve return. So that's point number one, serve return. Djokovic dominated on both. And if you do that in pro tennis at the ATP level, you're going to probably win. But the second thing was just play styles. So, anyways, before we get onto that, why don't I throw up the serve stats here for us to look through in total. You guys can see it now on the screen. Yeah. Key stats for the match, all sets. 10 aces for Alcaraz. He hit 10 aces. That's nice. 74% first serve in, only winning 67% of those. So really, his serve probably was like fine. But the reason why he was only winning 67% of those is because of how good Djokovic was returning. That's the main part. I don't think Alcaraz hit as many spots as he could have, but really Djokovic was suffocating on the return and showed why he's been so great. Yeah, and that's like taking him to like the freaking classroom. And then 33% on the second serve for Alcaraz is just so incredibly low for a guy like that. So on grass, it seems to almost like kick up more for some reason. It seemed to bother Djokovic a lot more. Could have just been a worse returning performance for him the last two times they played at Wimbledon, but it was great tonight. And then, yeah, conversely, Alcaraz was not able to return Djokovic's serve as well as he needed to put up with the grief he was getting on his. So they both had if you go to break points, so they both had a lot of break point looks, to be fair. Break points won. Djokovic won 6 of 13 and Alcaraz got 4 of 11. So both missed opportunities, both got a lot of looks on the other guy's serve, but Djokovic definitely won the serve return battle. So I think that's pretty clear. Okay, next point. The after the injury, so Alcaraz wins the first set because at the end of the set, it seemed like Djokovic had picked up a groin injury or something with his hip, and he started to move worse. And I will say, I don't believe there's a lot of people saying Djokovic fakes injuries to distract his opponents. He doesn't fake injuries. I don't believe he fakes an injury. I do believe, and it's 100% true, that he embellishes or exaggerates the pain that he's in. And I don't know if he does that to affect his opponent, but it definitely does affect his opponent. We've seen that now with Alcaraz. We've seen that with Andy Murray in the past. We've seen that with a lot of players complaining about the fact that he'll look super injured and then we'll be playing better. Now, it's possible to be in pain and then get treatment, get pain medication, and feel better. But some players just don't show pain, like Federer, for example. Djokovic seems to use it as part of gamesmanship in the match. Totally fair, totally fine, but I don't really like that. And I'm interested to see what you guys think down below. Call me a hater, call me whatever you want. That's the truth. He exaggerates the pain that he's in, for sure. Because he's a storyteller. He's the Joker. He loves the drama. Of course he does. So after that, after Djokovic, Alcaraz wins the first set. Djokovic comes after medical timeout, comes back playing bigger. So Djokovic started even taking more risk with his forehand backhand from the baseline, and he's playing bigger. And he's, they say, beware the injured warrior or the wounded warrior. He was playing well from the baseline. He was timing the ball very well, hitting it very clean. And Alcaraz lost his way. I think Alcaraz was a bit shocked at how big he was playing. The quicker course, again, get the ball beside Alcaraz. So Alcaraz was in this position a lot during the match. He was on the run, stretched out on the forehand, because Djokovic was hitting it so big and clean after the injury that he was able to do that. It seemed like Alcaraz kind of lost his strategy of what he was trying to do in those moments. He was like maybe just waiting for Djokovic to start missing again more, but he wasn't. Djokovic was playing great from the baseline, and Alcaraz kind of just stayed in this mode of playing with Djokovic from the baseline, bang, bang tennis from the baseline. And I think that was a mistake. Alcaraz, by the end of the match, started to do this more, but he was like slicing, slowing down the match, moving the angles around, bringing Djokovic forward like he did at Wimbledon so well. I thought he should have done that more, especially when Djokovic started hitting the ball so well from the baseline. He kind of just tried to keep doing it with him, and it was advantage Djokovic. But by the end of the match, a little bit too late, he started to slice, slow down the game. So then Djokovic has to go. The slice keeps the ball low, so Djokovic has to hit up on the ball and generate his own pace. So the ball's then not going to get behind Alcaraz as much, and he can wait for opportunities where the ball's in front for him to hit it. And he started hitting big winners at the end of the match and mixing up the game more to use his athleticism and variety, which I think is a bit superior to Djokovic's now. And he started to do it by the end, but it took him like 2 sets to figure that out. And by that time, Djokovic had won both. And then it was halfway through the third, or the fourth, and he was already broken early. So Alcaraz wasn't able to really recover. There was that one incredible rally that Alcaraz won, which was to save the double break point for Djokovic. That was the rally of the tournament, I think, in my opinion, just absolute beast mode. Alcaraz won it. I thought that might be a turning point, but it wasn't. If Alcaraz had gone on to break back, win the match, that would have been an incredible moment that we would have looked back on and been like, oh my gosh, that was where Alcaraz was so mentally tough. But Djokovic was even more mentally tough and strategic in this match and was able to, pull it out, get the win, and he's fired up. That's a huge win for him. He's not playing for records or titles anymore. He has them all, essentially. So he's playing for, can I still beat the best? And today he did. So congrats to Novak and his fans. He's into the semifinals where he will be playing Sasha Zverev. Sasha Zverev. Sorry, one last point. I want to show the stats here. From playing from the baseline, the rally analysis you see here, Djokovic won in the serve return. He won 81 points to 75 in the 0-4 shot rallies, and he won 22 points to 18 in the 9+ shot rallies. So the longer the point went, it seemed like they were doing bang bang tennis. Djokovic was winning more of those. So that's the point. Okay, let's go to Zverev. Djokovic will play Zverev in the semifinals, who beat Tommy Paul, as you can see here. Zverev beat Tommy Paul 4 sets. This was an interesting match. Tommy Paul played great. He played a great match, and he actually could have not in an easy way, but he easily could have won this match in 3 sets. The first two first sets tiebreakers, and Zverev wins them both easily, 7-1, 7-0. And what happened was Tommy was up a break and served for both sets and had set points in both sets, wasn't able to convert. So that's painful if you're Tommy Paul or an American tennis fan, because he had it there and he got a bit tight in those moments at the ends of those sets and allowed Zverev, because he was kind of outplaying Zverev, allowed him to break back, get back in that set into the tiebreaker, and then I feel like the bigger server always has the advantage in the tiebreakers. And Zverev took advantage in those two. Tommy Paul did get a set, but then Zverev was then he started to play better, I think, and was like, maybe had more belief, but was able to run away with that 4th set. So Zverev to play Djokovic. I believe their head-to-head right now is 8-4 for Djokovic, but this is going to be a tough match. Zverev is a beast. I think he's kind of gone under the radar a little bit. He's a 2 seed for a reason. He's got a huge serve that's going to come up. That's going to be massive for him in that matchup. So if Djokovic doesn't return like he did against Alcaraz, which is a completely different serve, then he's going to have problems. But it's going to be, does Zverev have the belief? Now he's going to feel, I'm the 2 seed. Djokovic is 37. I need to win a major. Can I do it? The doubt, will it be there? We'll have to see. They played, I believe, 2021 or 2020. I think the quarterfinals or semifinals, and Zverev was ahead a lot in that match, and got tight and didn't compete through that match well, and Djokovic took advantage. So Djokovic clearly here is the master. He's the school teacher. Alcaraz got taught the lesson. Will Zverev as well? We're going to have to wait and see. But anyways, that's an analysis and breakdown of Djokovic beating Alcaraz in an awesome match to watch. Not one of their best, not an all-time epic, but a good match and necessary watch if you're a tennis fan, because it's just so rare to see these guys. It was a Herculean effort from Djokovic to win, to play that way at 37 against Alcaraz, who looked very fresh, looked very good coming into this match. Again, the way it wasn't super high level from both of them throughout, but they both had reached great peaks, and there were some amazing rallies. And I really think a large part of the reason that Alcaraz didn't get to the level that he could get to is because of the way that Djokovic was playing. So yeah, that was amazing. And congrats to Djokovic and his fans. So we will see you guys next time here on The Slice. And may the best man win between Zverev and Djokovic. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.